Julie, the Biden administration is pushing for overtime pay for millions more workers. The Labor Department proposing a new rule to raise the overtime salary cap. It would also make more than 3.5 million salaried workers like restaurant and grocery store managers eligible for overtime, and that could affect everyone's wallets. Let's bring in Ken Coleman, host of the Ken Coleman Show. So, Ken, we'll just start off. What do you think of this?
I think it's, again, political posturing. It's emotional politics at its worst, because it sounds really good, of course, when we are in a time of great inflation and hourly workers, salaried workers are being pinched by Bidenomics. And so now they come out and say, let's raise the overtime requirement. You know, the Obama administration attempted to do this, to raise it to about $47,000 in his administration, and a judge shot it down. So I don't think this has a whole lot of realistic legs, much like the student loan forgiveness policy that was put forth. So let's just look at the economics of this. If this were to go through, this will actually lead to more inflation. In other words, putting more fuel on an already out of control fire. We're not seeing any inflation slowing right now. And if you require businesses, small businesses, hotels, restaurants to pay management, because this is who this will affect, more money, then they're going to have to pass on that cost to the consumer, you and me and everybody else, or they're going to lay people off. And so it's tempting to say, well, this is going to help people make more money, when in reality it will probably lead to layoffs and certainly lead to inflation. That's not good economic policy. Stay out of business. Let business figure business out.
What would you say to those who say, look, I'm working like crazy, I'm putting in all these hours, I can't afford to put food on my table, send my kids to school, and there are no realistic opportunities for me out there because the floor is just too low?
Well, I would say respectfully, you're wrong. Okay, so let's look at two things. You can't afford to feed your family, but you probably are dealing with household debt that is actually crushing you. Do you have a car payment? You have credit card debt? What are you spending your money on? Let's first look at that. Number two, let's also look at the reality of the statement that, well, I can't find work anywhere else. That's absolute garbage. We have, let's call 8.8 million jobs, somewhere in that range right now, the latest numbers, but about 6.3 or 6.4 million people unemployed. Those are rough numbers from my memory. And so the jobs are out there. And so I don't believe that. There is gig economy that is exploding. That is a phrase that means freelance work. So there is opportunity in this country right now to make more money. Do I believe inflation is real and it's squeezing people that you are giving as an example? Absolutely. But there's more opportunity than you realize. And again, if we keep forcing these kind of government draconian policies on small businesses, you're going to kill jobs. You're going to force layoffs, and we're going to hurt small business owners. And I'm talking about your mom and pop restaurant in your neighborhood. We got to think about these policies.
What do you say to Americans out there who've making, or what are the most significant financial mistakes that Americans are making out there, and how can they best correct some of the worst offenders out there?
Yeah, great question. Let's look at car payments and credit card. Now, you know, the rule of thumb is well, I can't pay all my bills. I don't have enough money left over at the end of the month, so I got to use credit cards to get by. And that's an absolute trap. You look at the unbelievable interest rates on credit cards and cars. And at Ramsey Solutions, we've helped millions upon millions upon millions of people get out of debt the last 35 years. So this isn't theory. If you look at the average car payment in the United States right now, you're looking at close to $800 a month. That's one person. You have many households that are making $50,000 or less that are dragging around these car payments, and it's absolutely killing them. This is a depreciating asset. I'd sell the car. I would get rid of my credit card debt. Give yourself a massive raise. You get rid of that car payment, you get rid of credit card payments, you may give yourself a $1,500, $2,000 raise. That's real money, as opposed to hoping Joe Biden and your boss are going to come through for you.
Ken Coleman with some fiscal advice. Ken, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.